The ruins 1 hour away from Kyanru. The clock struck 9 p.m. But the sun struggled to pierce through the gnarled branches that cast shadowy tendrils across the landscape. In the company of my comrades, we traversed the eerie remnants of a once thriving village where banter among boys danced on the edge of an unspoken tension. Rickuy, fueled by a deep-seated grudge, unleashed a torrent of accusations against Julian, who seemed to revel in the discomfort his presence instigated. His shouts echoed through the silence, creating a dissonance that resonated with the spectral remnants of the village's troubled past. Julian, loud and abrasive, had become a reluctant addition to our group, a pitiable figure we tolerated despite his perpetual rudeness. My attempt to mediate the escalating conflict birthed an uncomfortable silence that hung in the air like a shroud. Juden, our navigator, broke the quietude by consulting his digital map. He proclaimed our proximity to the infamous serial killer's house, a malevolent structure seeped in the dark history of a village consumed by fire over 3 decades ago. Ulamir, now a ghostly tableau, clung to its spectral existence. Only a handful of inhabitants, defiant against the encroaching void, resisted the natural order of decay. The village had transformed into a rite of passage for the youth, an ominous tradition demanding exploration of the tunnels beneath the scorched earth. A dark pilgrimage etched in the collective memory of the adventurous. The landscape, bereft of natural light, plunged into an abyssal darkness. Feeble streetlights cast flickering shadows, and the swaying branches overhead added a surreal rhythm to our journey. Unperturbed by the desolation, we pressed forward, an intrepid group bound by the allure of the unknown. Abruptly, our camaraderie was shattered by a distant noise, a harbinger of the unknown. Headlights cut through the darkness, signaling the approach of a motorbike. Panic seized us, propelling our descent into a muddy ditch down the hill. We huddled in the shadows, waiting for the intrusive engine to pass. As the motorbike faded into the distance, the group emerged from the mud. Julian, now soiled and irate, redirected his frustrations towards me, blaming the ill-fated suggestion to visit this forsaken place. The others, undeterred by the discord, clung to the determination to explore the caves and escape with the. We traversed the ditch, approaching the entrance to the caverns. However, my eyes fixated on the looming silhouette of the serial killer's house. An ominous presence demanding acknowledgement. An unexplainable compulsion gripped me. I insisted on delving into its ominous depths. Jowash and Rickuy, frustrated by my deviation from the plan, emphasized the proximity of a suspicious neighbor. Frustrated but resolute, I made a decision. I beckoned Juden, the unwitting fool of our group, to accompany me into the heart of malevolence. The others, still fuming from the earlier discord, continued toward the caves, leaving us to confront the ominous secrets hidden within the killer's abode. An unexpected detour into the abyss of the unknown. The malignant hill, shrouded in an otherworldly gloom, beckoned Juden and me forward, a mere 20 meters from the enigmatic dwelling obscured by the oppressive vegetation. As we ascended, the silhouette of the killer's house seemed to pulsate with a malevolence that stirred a whispered urgency between us. In the spectral stillness, we silently concocted a strategy, mindful of the need for a surreptitious entry into the abyssal abode. A time-worn metal fence, a sentinel neglected for over a decade, encircled the nefarious structure. Its twisted bars, once a formidable barrier, now whispered tales of decay, lacking surveillance cameras. We cautiously surmised that the neighboring residents remained oblivious to our clandestine foray. Yet, as we materialized onto the road, an unsettling chorus of canine barks emanated from the neighboring house. An unsettling dissonance in the eerie symphony of desolation. Unfazed, we discovered a narrow fissure beneath the fence, slipping through the darkened portal unseen. Our clothes now bore the markings of leaves and mud, trophies from our silent infiltration. The shattered windows beside us spoke of dereliction and abandonment, their jagged edges testifying to the haunting history embedded in these forsaken walls. We cautiously leapt through the broken aperture, landing on a damp carpet within the killer's lair. The interior revealed a scene of profound desolation. A roof collapsed, leaves scattered like ancient ruins upon the ground. It was as though the very essence of decay had claimed this malevolent sanctuary. We treaded through the ruins of the small living room, my eyes drawn to a shattered photograph that lay amid the debris. It depicted a middle-aged man with a mustache, a chilling visage identified by Juden as the very serial killer we sought. The realization sent shivers down our spines, an unsettling communion with the eldritch forces that lingered within these walls. Continuing our exploration, I chanced upon a fireplace with a narrow opening from which dim lights flickered below. Peering into the Stygian depths, I discerned the voices of our companions echoing through the vertical tunnel. A shout brought Rickuy's attention, and we discussed a plan to join them, our words reverberating through the subterranean passageway like ghostly whispers. Abruptly, the distant hum of a motorcycle resonated, a dissonant note in the eerie harmony of our clandestine venture. Urgency gripped me, and I commanded Juden to conceal himself, spinning a tale of imminent security threats. As he crouched behind a decaying sofa, I sought refuge behind the window, the intrusive sound crescendoing, its piercing light illuminating the darkness. My heart raced as it stopped, the silence expanding into an abyss of uncertainty before resuming its spectral journey into the unknown. For prudence over audacity, we chose to exit through the front door, its frame adorned with a thick plastic shroud, a cryptic curtain left in the wake of unseen authorities, crawling beneath its enigmatic veil onto the narrow road. I glanced back in trepidation, only to find that the house, once a malevolent specter against the night, had vanished entirely. In its place remained naught but a flat patch of dirt, a macabre reminder of the transient nature of the eldritch forces that governed this accursed realm. A few heartbeats later, the rest of the group caught up to Juden and me, their faces painted with the thrill of discovery. Julian, as usual, laughed brashly, eager to share the spoils of their exploration. My attempts to caution them about the proximity of the neighboring house fell on deaf ears, particularly Julian's. As Julian continued his crude banter, I chose to ignore him, focusing instead on the decision at hand. The group, seemingly unfazed by the mysterious events, decided to call it a night. Juden remained silent, a quiet specter beside. As we walked back, the weight of unspoken revelations hung in the air. Contemplating whether to reveal the inexplicable disappearance of the house, I weighed the consequences. The danger of being caught and facing 6 months in prison loomed over us, a reality that demanded discretion. Yet, the ominous disappearance begged for explanation, a truth that begged to be unraveled. Cautioning the group about the potential repercussions, we decided to abandon our nocturnal expedition. The journey back up the desolate road was accompanied by casual chatter, attempting to lighten the atmosphere. So the caves, while lacking in significant discoveries, still carried the allure of the unknown. Minutes later, the familiar hum of the motorcycle resurfaced, echoing through the dimness. This time, escape routes were limited. Steep cliffs flanked both sides, leaving us with no choice but to run. A sudden gunshot pierced the night air, igniting panic that fueled our desperate sprint. Rickuy and I separated from the group, seeking refuge in an abandoned parking lot a few hundred meters away from our parked car. The remnants of a once bustling shopping mall provided meager cover as we huddled behind its skeletal walls. The others found refuge on the opposite side of the desolate car park. Tension gripped the air and fear of being shot intensified. The paradoxical situation confounded us. Firearms were illegal in the state of Cayenne. Yet here we were, fleeing from the ominous echo of a gunshot. The quad bike circled the parking lot, its ominous presence casting shadows on our anxious faces. Eventually, seizing a moment when the engine's growl faded into the distance, Rickuy and I made a daring decision. We plunged into the concealing bushes, opting for the uncertainty of the wilderness over the ominous pursuit that seemed to defy the laws of the land. The night had become a twisted labyrinth, and our escape through the thicket was a desperate bid for elusive safety.